Hello, my name is Mat Aris Nur Ashidi bin Mat Nasir. Today I will explain how to do problem statement section, task 1, standard deviation. So we read the question first. Find the mean and standard deviation of up to 100 numbers. Suppose that the mean of n numbers x1, x2 until xn is as shown in equation 1. Then the standard deviation of this number can be computed using equation 2. So we will find mean using this equation and find standard deviation using this equation. So let's proceed. First thing, we have to do the header. So we include IOStream and mac.h. After that, we start by using the loop for user to input up to 100 numbers. So then we display enter the value of add to n, press -1. So when we put the -1 value, the loop will terminate. After that, we proceed to calculate the mean. We are using mean formula. We want to find mean for all the input value. So first, we sum up all the numbers. After that, we dividing that sum by the count of the numbers. So it will get the answer for mean. After that, we will calculate standard deviation. So after we got the mean, we subtract the mean from each value. And to obtain the square, we multiply the number by itself. And lastly, we display the mean. So we will get the output for the mean. And then we display standard deviation. The value that we got before this, we will dividing it by the count of the value. And then we square root it. And then we should get the answer for standard deviation. So that's all for task 1. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Muntasir Awad Sarar Khatim Saleh. I'm going to talk about task 2 and task 3, lowest value and upper value. Okay, first of all, we start by declaring the function, as you can see, which are find smallest element with float data type, and smallest frequency with float data type, and find the greatest element with float data type, and the greatest number frequency with float data type. Also, so after calculating mean and standard deviation, we will start to call our function, which have two parameter num, which save the value entered by the user, and I which will allow us to access all the elements in the array. So for find the smallest element function, we have two parameter with the data type float and int. In the function, we declare temp and make it equal to our first element in the array. After that, we do the comparing method with all the elements using the for loop to determine the smallest element and return it back. For finding the greatest element function, we do the same process, but instead of having temp greater than array I, we change it to temp similar than array I. So after finish the loop, the value of temp which will be returned is the greatest value and our array. Um, for smallest num frequency, we declare minimum using our find smallest elements. After that, we enter it to the loop, and once the array I is equal to minimum, the 1 will be added to the cout value. Well, after finishing the loop, cout value will be returned. Okay, and for the greatest num frequency, we will do the same process, but using find the greatest element function uh, to declare maximum. Thank you.
Okay, now I want to run the coding with 3 set of data. For the data set number 1, we run the coding and we enter the input. Okay, the program will terminate when user enter the value of -1. So this is the answer for the data set number 1. The mean is 7, the standard deviation is 3.2249, the lowest value is 2, and the largest value is 12. Now we continue with the data set number 2. Okay, key in the input. So this is the answer for the data set number 2. The mean is 23.3. The standard deviation is 7.2808. The lowest value is 5 and the largest value is 33. Last but not least, we continue with the data set number 3. Run the coding and we key in the input. So this is the answer for the data set number 3. The mean is 25.8. Standard deviation is 11.4088. The lowest value is 10 and the largest value is 45.
Hello, in this video I'm going to show you the verification part of this coding. So as we can see, this is the table of dataset 1, 2 and 3, and this is the value of the testing that we have acquired in the testing part. So in order to verify this value, I'm going to use this set online standard deviation calculator. In this online standard deviation calculator, we can know the mean and the standard deviation. So we are going to use the data set 1 first. As we can see, the mean is 7 and the standard deviation is 3.2249. It is the same like data set 1 here. The mean is 7 and standard deviation is 3.2249. So the next one is data set 2. We paste it in here, and as we can see, the mean is 23.3 and the standard deviation is 7.2808, just like in this testing part. Okay, now we go to the dataset 3. Now, as we can see here, the mean is 25.8 and the standard deviation is 11.4087. It is the same as the value like in the testing part. So as we can conclude here, the testing and the verification part is the same value. Thank you.